unfolds tonight, we will agree that this is a great example of everyone who continues to turn their passion for Dominica into action for Dominica. You know, we continue to see the world changing and evolving. So we look at the changes we should be taking advantage of and what changes we need to make in order to move our island, our people, our region forward in this world. We all know we continue to face many battles and challenges in Dominica and the Caribbean by extension. But here on Roots Connections, we especially recognize that in order to effect the change we are seeking, our people must be financially independent so that they can be free to make other important decisions in their life, such as electing their government. So again, welcome to episode number 73 of Roots Connections on Q for today, July 10th, 2024. I am your host, Simone Matthew, and today we are thrilled to be joined by Mr. Lester Barron, Miss Magdalene Kofi, and Mr. Dylan Williams. And again, if you're just tuning in, you're tuning in 4 minutes late. That's okay. We're sharing an exciting opportunity which now exists for breeding livestock in Dominica via imported genetics. But before we get started, we always like to begin by praying for our country, Dominica. We especially pray for our young people who recently graduated this week. And we do this program especially with you in mind as we try to create opportunities for you and we try to secure a bright future for you. So again, let us welcome our guests, and as they unmute their mics and they tell us who they are, their role in this important initiative and where they are joining us from. So guys, feel free to unmute your mic. We will begin with Mr. Lester Barron, and we want to thank Mr. Omar Monell and everyone who supports this program. Omar, thank you again for referring Lester and this incredible program to us this evening. So Lester, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're joining us from, and a little bit about you.
Awesome. Good evening, Dr. Matthew. It's so great to be with you tonight, and I'm honored to be here on your show. And thank you for reaching out and having a conversation. I am so grateful, everyone. Good evening. I live in California, just outside of Los Angeles, California, but I was born in Dominica and migrated here 26 years ago. So I'm very, very honored that my path and my journey has brought me to a place where I can still appreciate and love and admire and respect everything that we have and do in Dominica. And I'm extremely grateful to have an opportunity to speak about one of the things that I'm passionate about, which is livestock and farming and simply supporting people that I love and care about, which are our citizens of Dominica, to find a way to a better life, whatever that looks like for them. So thank you, Dr. Matthew, for having me on. At this time, I'll turn it over to my very dear friend, Maggie, who would now share her story. Maggie, go for it.
Yes, hi, I'm Magdalene Kofi, and I am also excited to be on tonight talking about um, livestock. I am a returning resident of the United States back to Dominica and just got involved in all kinds of livestock. And I saw the need for improving my goats when Lester came about and talked about getting Semen and doing the AI program. We have concluded using the straws and waiting for good results. I can see some good results, and I'm excited to see that my goats are successful, but it's still early and I'm not pretty sure if it's going to work, but the hope is to improve the goat livestock in Dominica. And I'm happy to be part of it, and I will continue to push forth to start that co-op that we decided to bring farmers together. We already brought 31 or 32 farmers who bought straws and working on improving their size of goats and sustainability and food sustainability in Dominica. And happy to be part of that.
Yes, thank you. Dylan, jump in.
Yes, good evening to you and to all of your viewers out there. Thanks again for the opportunity. Simone, Lester, likewise, you guys for having me on. And of course, I'm very happy, to be part of the program. That Lester, you're instrumental, in starting, in terms of importing our new genetics. But a little bit about myself. My name is Dylan Williams. I'm from the village of Bellevue Chopin. I've been an organic farmer for the past 15 years. I've been involved in the organic sector. Been and still is an active member of the Dominica Organic Agriculture Movement, executive director, of course. So, we've been trying, to get organic going in Dominica. So, the whole program with upgrading the breed stock of our goats, of course, getting more input production going, very, very happy for me. So, glad to be part of the program. I'm looking forward to.
Yes, excellent. So, guys, thank you for being here again. This sounds like it's going to be a very engaging conversation. I know that everyone on Facebook and YouTube and those who will call in will have a lot to say about what we are discussing this evening. So, again, thank you for your introductions. We look forward to your contribution to this important discussion. So, we continue to work to position Dominica to take advantage from a world where change is the only constant. As always, we are grateful to you, our audience. We look forward to your contribution to the discussion, whether you call into the program or you choose to join us on Facebook at Q95 FM Radio and Push Past 10, or on YouTube at Q95 FM Radio. We always look forward to your contribution to this conversation. Don't forget to share the live, click the notification button, and of course, follow Q95 FM Radio and Push Past 10 so you will never miss any of our programs. We are always grateful to Mr. G and the Q95 FM family for the opportunity to come here to begin the process of reversing that, brain drain that Dominica and the Caribbean region has suffered from biotechnology. Because look at this, I'm in Atlanta, Lester is in California, Maggie's right now in Antigua, and Dylan is in Dominica. So we use technology to begin that process of reversing the the brain drain. Of course, we are grateful to our engineer, Showing Norris, for keeping us on the air, and we cannot forget to thank Lambie for being on the console to take your calls later in the program. So let's jump right into the conversation, and let's begin by talking about your professional background. What brought you to where you are right now with regards to this important initiative? So just kind of tell us a little bit about your background. So let's start, ladies first. Maggie, jump in. You're muted.
Sorry, I was introduced to this by Lester and the rest of the folks on, and I was just learning more about my goats when the opportunity came, and I joined in, not knowing a lot, not knowing nothing about AI, and I jumped in and learned about it, and I mean I'm pretty excited. I am seeing one of my goats really getting huge, so I believe it's pregnant. So I joined in, and I'm happy that I did, even if I didn't know everything before I came in, but I'm learning as I go along. And I have gone as to, you know, getting some savannah goats in Antigua or from Antigua to improve the size of my goats, because all my goats were like really small, tiny little goats, not developing in size. And getting to know more about the Boa breed and the Savannah breed and the Alpines, and I'm just learning so much about goats. And
So let me ask you, Maggie, were you previously a goat farmer? How long have you been in livestock in Dominica?
I'm just starting. That's
Oh,
not
you're
my
just
career.
starting.
I'm just
Okay.
starting. I'm not a farmer.
Okay.
I knew
So
nothing
what
about
so,
farming.
so what made you interested in this particular career?
I mean, my dad left so much land. I have land, and
Ah,
I
okay.
came back home and I went into farming, and I'm just learning. I'm
Right,
just
right,
still learning. And I have
right.
livestock. I have goats, sheep, pigs, ducks,
Okay.
every kind of animal. And I just love animals anyway. So
Okay.
I'm learning more. And now that the program came about, and they started pushing, improving the livestock production, having more meat. And
Mhm.
because goat meat is very expensive. If I kill a goat and it's 4 quarters, you make but so much. So, I'm just learning the different grass, and I'm learning what is nutritious grass, what is healthy grass, and making silo. And, I'm just learning, and I'm just
Okay.
excited, and I'm just all engulfed into the idea.
Hmm.
And it's all that had brought me here tonight, talking about this thing and
Okay.
just learning about the AI program, learning about the process of how you get it done. And I think I'm becoming an expert, but not yet.
Yes,
But it's
excellent.
all good because it's the idea of developing the goat animal livestock in Dominica.
Yes.
Improve your goat, build an economy, make money, because
Mhm.
farming is all about building your the agricultural industry,
Yeah,
always
excellent.
having food sustainable,
Will develop
always
it.
you know just because with my livestock I make my own manure.
Yeah.
I don't have to depend on they don't have manure this week, or they don't have manure for a whole month. I make my own compost tea, and I make my own compost, and I use my chicken down and my goat down and my rabbit down, and I use it for my manure, and I
Hmm.
improve it as I go along. I learn more, especially learning from teacher YouTube and people who do it, and all these people that are doing new things and improve things, and learning how to improve your soil structure. I went as far as doing an intensive soil test on my land, knowing where my land needs developing, where I need to put mix manure along with the compost,
Right. So I
and with
can
a combination. So I'm just
Ye-
learning,
Yeah, so I
and
can
I'm
tell you,
enjoying
I
it
can tell you're really passionate about this, and
very
it's
much so.
wonderful that as a new person to this venture, that you're excited about learning more. But let's go over to Dylan. I know you've been in farming before, so kind of just give us a little bit of your background in the area of farming and what attracted you to this particular program. And then Lester, I want you to give us the meat of the matter when I come over to you. So Dylan, let's hear from you.
Okay, okay. Of course, once again, good evening to everybody. So like I mentioned before, I've been in farming for about 15 years, relatively on a small to medium scale. Um, but you see, we into permaculture, not really so much monocropping systems where we have one large crop. We have a variety of different crops. So we like to have a little bit of everything. But really, we're more or less into production of herbal medicines and essential oil production. So I've had animals for roughly about 10 years now, since about 2015. Learning about them. We've had two horses, some cows, goats. We have about 10 goats. You know, I've been in the learning process over the years. I've learned a lot. Also being part, of the Dominica Organic Agriculture Movement, I was exposed to a lot of, other information and experience and dealing with, other farmers and other farm organizations and so on. So I've learned over the years really some of the challenges as well within some of the value chains in Dominica as it relates to how to go about accessing good clean food as you know it, right? We say organic, you can call it natural, um, you can call it resilient. Right now we're talking about resilient farming, climate smart agriculture, all of these fancy terms that we have really for the old type of farming that our grandparents used to do before the 1950s, after World War I and II, when you had Agent Orange coming in, and a lot of these pesticides, herbicides, weedicides coming into the Caribbean region, destroying our soils, causing onset of diseases, and destruction of the environment as we know it. Hence why we have certain agreements like Paris Climate Accord and so on, trying to ban certain chemicals and so on. So all of these things that I've been an advocate for over the years. I wear different hats, in different areas. But of course tonight I'm a farmer and we're talking farming. So looking forward to talking more about it. But in terms of the program itself, I have local goods, and they stay relatively small. So when I saw in the group chat, the size of the goats that will become available in terms of the genetics, I saw it as an opportunity because for many many years, changing animals, cutting grass, it's a lot of effort to only end up with an animal that only lay big, and you only your return is very small. But with these new type of genetics, it raises the opportunity for the farmer to have a greater turnover in terms of more input per animal by the end of the month. All right, so more input for you is more planting. Because listen, I can plant as much as I have inputs available for me. You understand? And you
Right.
require an amount of organic matter per square footage. So you can actually do a calculation based on acreage, how much animals you really need to sustain yourself, without having to purchase any inputs whatsoever. No inputs. And growing organically, in most cases, you hardly need any sort of pesticides, herbicides, or weedicides at all. And there are natural supplements that could be used in the place in case of an issue where a plant suffers from some sort of um, issue, which in most cases in organic, that's not the case. So I have a passion for it. And yeah, I just had to jump on. I was able to take part in the first program. I bought a straw. It was a pure boar, of course, originated out of South Africa, one of the largest breeds in the world. And I said I would use that to upgrade my local stock. But then, of course, the program continued, into, now we're looking at live animals. Let's, of course, we'll come in and talk about that more. But I'm capitalizing on that. So then, I'll be able to use my AI on those animals instead, bigger stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking
Yes,
forward.
yes, yes. Yes, thank you, Dylan. So Lester, I have to come over to you. And the first time I heard about this program and I learned about you, I thought to myself, what is a guy whose professional career is, the financial world, a pretty successful career, I might add. How does this guy get into livestock, goat breeding, imported genetics? How did you get involved in all of this, Lester? So, kind of take us from the genesis of how this program, this idea, took root in Dominica.
Wow, Doc. Well, I appreciate the question because, I growing up in Dominica, my parents did something for me when I was about 6 or 7 years young, and they gave me a pair of goats. And from that day forward, I was addicted. And my father said, if you do good with these two, I will source some more for you. So I think he ended up giving me about maybe 5 to 6 or 7, and then within a couple of years' time, we were close to 100 goats, right? And so I developed a love for goats because I would come home from school and I would leave my bag at home, and I would run to the goat paddock and I would go and graze my goats. And so I grew up with that love of animals inside of me, and I have not been able to shake it. So even with me migrating from Dominica at the age of 15 after I finished Dominica Grammar School, I came to California to pursue my studies, and then I built our company here. Myself, my wife, and our partners built our company here. I've never left that love that I've always felt being in nature with the animals behind. And that is the thing that I look forward to the most every time I go home, is how fast can I get off the plane so I can go and see my goats. That's right, and all the other people I love too, right? So that they don't poke me too much. But here I am, and I've always had in the back of my mind to better what I'm a part of. So a few years ago, I sent an email to the ministry, and I said, "Hey, I'd love to do something without any agenda to support all of our farmers in Dominica." And I want to say thank you to one of my heroes in Dominica. His name is Dr. Lennox Sentemi. Dr. Sentemi is the head of the livestock division right now. And he said, Lester, if you would like to do this, I would like to be a part and I would like to support. So I want to say thank you to Dr. Sentemi because he caught on to what I was hoping to do on the inside in my heart. And he said, Lester, I'll give you everything legally that you need to do from the ministry's perspective. You do your part, I'll do my part, and let's work together to make it happen. And that was the genesis of the idea. And so I was able to source some of the very best genetics out of a place in Texas called College Station, Texas, from Gold Mine Boas International. And I happen to have a relationship with him. The gentleman is originally from Jamaica, but it has some of the best genetics in the world right there in Texas. And so when I connected the two dots and I really did the research on the type of animals that we had access to, the initial the initial thought process, Doc, was to bring down live animals. However, the first set of logistics were a little bit too complicated to make that happen. So we said, well, why not we switch to bringing down at least the goat semen straws? And so for somebody that doesn't know what that looks like,
Right.
semen straws are, you're basically taking the semen of a male goat, and they store them in tubes and in liquid nitrogen, which can let them to last for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, a long time. And then now you could have a professional use a straw and insert that into a female goat or doe, and then that has a great chance of providing a pregnancy, which creates a hybrid animal, half local and half of the hybrid that we're looking to do, and that improves the size of the animal. It improves the genetics of the next offspring, and it causes us to yield a bigger animal. And so the reason for that, Doc, is one of the ways that someone can be supported into a better socioeconomic status is by improving the access to resources, right, financially and in an agricultural sense, in this sense, goats. So the whole point of this is that, as Dylan mentioned, when a farmer harvests an animal, they now have more meat that they can sell. So the bottom line is they can feed their family, maybe if an extra 50, 100, $300 that they make from that carcass, and their life can get better because they have better animals. And so those goats, we brought down 150 straws. 100 of them are the Boer goats that Dylan mentioned. Those Boer goats originate from South Africa, and some of the males get up to 320 pounds. And we also brought down the Nubian goats, which provide up to 5 gallons of milk per day. So
Wow.
if somebody wants to literally have goat milk and create a business from goat milk, or if they want to have goat meat, and as you know, goat meat is the number one requested meat in Dominica,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
So
Goat water.
goat water. Anywhere you go, you have a goat water. It will be done before the line is over, right?
Right.
So that is the inspiration behind it, is to see our people enjoy the fruits of their labor, both on rearing the animals for people that have love of animals, but also the consumer of the animal for people that indulge in goat meat and goat water and curry goat and all kinds of ways you can prepare goat, that their lives would be fulfilled, that you get a sense of joy and enjoyment from these animals being available. So that's how we got here, and that was the beginning. So back to you, Dr. Matthew.
Yeah, so the question becomes, when exactly did you bring down the semen straws? When did you begin doing that? And was there initially hesitation? Because you're talking about importing genetics. So I kind of want to hear the reaction. Was it naturally accepted, or was there resistance? Because in Dominica we tend to be a very sensitive. So we're like, well, are you playing God? Maybe our goats were meant to be smaller. So why are you importing genetics to make them bigger? So kind of just tell us about the response, the first time you did it, and what has been the response at the beginning and now.
Doc, I will tell you that first off, I want to give credit to a lot of people that made this possible. It wasn't just me. I just happened to be one of the people that is a catalyst to this being possible. So I just want to reiterate that I don't take credit for all of this being done. Okay, there's many hands that made this work. And so initially, we were the first question when we said, okay, let's switch from live imports from the US to genetics from the US. We go, oh boy, how are we going to do this? Because there are a lot of factors that have to line up in order for us to be able to, right, actually get the genetics into Dominica safely, especially. So we worked in collaboration with the Livestock Development Unit. We worked in collaboration with the London Dairy Unit because a lot of things had to happen. For example, there's a nitrogen plant that was already purchased in that area for the London Dairy Unit, and we had to make sure that it was operational. Then we had to make sure that the room was cool enough. So there were people that helped us to put an AC unit in that room. Then we had to make sure that the genetics were tested in the United States. So we enlisted vets from up here. We enlisted the shipping company. We enlisted a lot of people in the process. So actually, there was excitement and there was a little bit of worry because we go, well, what if we invest all that money into the project and it doesn't happen, right? Or the straws get to Dominica and there's not nitrogen in the tank and we lost our shipment. And so there was both excitement and a little bit of worry, but in the end, it all worked out. And I'm so grateful that now we have a procedure which anybody in Dominica has access to. Everyone has access to the procedure. So that means if you want to import your own genetics to Dominica, we have a procedure. We're happy to share that with you. Stay tuned till the end of the program because I'll give you some QR codes that you can scan with us on the screen if you're watching us live, and you can say, you know what, I would like to access this procedure, or I'd like to be a part of what you're doing. You can hang with us. So it was excitement and saying we have to put a lot of things in place, but I'm so proud of the team effort. We were able to do it.
Yeah, and wonderful, wonderful. Folks on Facebook are enjoying the conversation. We already have comments coming in. Cheryl Dangleban, good to see you. Good night. I'm listening. Patricia Fountain, always lovely to see you. Patricia Barry, Cody Barry. Oh, next our program, Cody. I can't wait for us to present your foundation. He says, "Good evening. Very interesting. What research has been done on long-term effects of consuming genetically modified products?" So keep a note of that. That will be a question when we come to the question and answer section. But let us talk about the successes and challenges. So Maggie and Dylan, let me invite you to speak here. What has been your successes? What has been your challenges as you engage with this opportunity? Your successes and challenges to date.
Okay, I will go. I bought four straws, and so far I have used three. I am not sure if all three were successful because it's not a guaranteed program. It's a process, and as Lester said, we couldn't do it alone. We had the full support of the veterinarian department, Dr. Santeme, Dr. Luge, and all the APHOs that worked together. It was raining, it was difficult. They didn't have transportation. It was difficult, but we saw it through. And I think we already have done most of it, but some people, because of the long wait, their goats got pregnant and they could no longer use their straws. So their straws is still waiting. We still have to top up the oxygen tank. We source oxygen from Guadeloupe. We had to go to Guadeloupe and buy oxygen. It's not an easy doing, but
Right.
you know, I can say with all our hard work, our effort, it was successful and it's going to continue to be successful. For those of us who have used our straws, we are waiting to see the progress. We are not sure because there was some unsuccessful ventures. Some of the goats went back into heat. Some of the goats didn't get pregnant. So we are looking at it and seeing what we have to do better next time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall, new experiences, those things always happen. You go
Right.
into things that you're not sure will work out. And as you know, nothing is perfect and
Yeah.
nothing is sure.
It's a learning
But
experience.
yes, it's a learning experience. We have
Mhm.
learned from mistakes because we went through hurdles. And I'm telling you, high, high hurdles because when the tank got there, we had to find ways in paying from our own pocket to get somebody to put a AC unit in the building in Londonderry. The tank wasn't working. Another member husband who has some experience had to work on the tank to make sure that it was getting cool at the right temperature because there was something going wrong with the tank. The oxygen was freezing and it was a lot of trial and error. But we had professionals who volunteers weeks and weeks and weeks of their time going back and forth to Londonderry to make sure that this thing was working. So it was a difficult journey, a new experience in Dominica, a new experience for all of us involved. And we are still here struggling to get the co op going. And I am pushing for people to join the co op because we want to get started and we want to continue building that livestock co op. So, everybody who's listening, please join in and let's do something good with
Absolutely.
livestock. We
Absolutely.
eventually want to build our goat bodies. We want to make them bigger. We want to make it more successful, and we want to go and do our sheeps and our other animals.
Mhm.
But we did the goats first, so now we can go with another animal if according to our success rate. So I
Absolutely.
mean, I'm trying to ask anybody who's listening. We are looking for members. We are looking for people to join the co-op. Let's get it together. Let's start moving. Let's get going and see if we can apply for grants, apply for loan, because everybody needs feeding. Everybody needs paddock material, fencing material, flooring material for our goats. We need so much, and it is so difficult out there. So we're trying to come together as a group. So if we
Mhm.
buy, our purchasing power becomes more successful. The
Mhm.
more you buy, the less it becomes. So that's our goal,
Mhm.
and I'm hoping that we have a high success rate. I'm really hoping that we have a high success rate, and even if we didn't have a total 100% successful rate, let's not let that deter us from continuing to improve the life of goats in Dominica.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me come over to you, Dylan. Your successes, challenges that you have experienced during this program.
Yeah, so like Maggie was saying, of course, a lot of the successes and challenges are shared challenges and successes because we went into this as a grouping, right? I believe it was about 30 something of us, maybe Lester can correct me if I'm wrong. So we have a lot of shared successes and challenges in getting the Semen into Dominica, and ensuring that everything went, as smoothly as possible. Um, in terms of personal, I bought one straw to start. And at first I had the idea to use it on my local goats. But then after I learned, after the Ministry of Agriculture, the farm, the livestock um, people, came to visit the farm and whatnot, and you know, they told me basically that my livestock, was a bit too small, and in terms of the success, mightn't be 100% because of how small my female might be, and it being much larger genetically in terms of a breed of goat. I decided to not use it on my local stock. And of course, I was very excited to hear about a live goat import, which I am now taking part in, to allow me to be able to use a larger breed model, with this AI, which is actually a very similar breed because we import in Savannah and we brought in Boer AI straws, so they're very similar. So I'm very happy, to be able to do that. Um, so in terms of other successes, looking forward in the future though to having an upgraded stock of goods that I could have a larger, return of input. And not only for me but for everybody in the program. When if you look at, the amount of people involved, in this program, when they all upgrade their genetics, and then it starts spreading throughout the island, of course, we're gonna have a larger amount of inputs available across the island. And there's always this discussion about whether or not we can be self-sustainable in terms of inputs. And the question is yes, because Dominica, we're a volcanic island, we are a very green island, underdeveloped. So we have a lot of greenery, which is a lot of food, right? And of course, if we upgrade our engines that we have, the machines that eat in the food to convert that organic matter faster, to have larger amounts of input, our farmers can plant way more and in a sustainable way. We're talking about becoming the first climate resilient nation in the world. Of course, that's a race. We're on a race, and we want to get up to $700 million in a few years. So this program, of course, would help towards that contribution because not only having more organic matter available, um, you know, it's going to be able to allow our farmers to have, you know, a product which is known as naturally grown or under a certification system organic, and I would raise the value of all of our crops locally. There is a study that was put out where it says that Dominicans are actually willing. I think about 20% of Dominicans are actually willing to pay, a premium price for organic. But really, does organic have to be more expensive? We have that concept that doing organic agriculture, is more laborsome, more expensive. Well, that's because we are a bit ignorant to it. Because all we know is the chemicals, trying to, with the idea that we want to get somewhere fast. We want the fertilizer, but really that's not the case. Growing organically, I've been able to grow, certain crops, the same speed, better quality for longer shelf life, better tasting, and it's more healthy for the body. It heals cancer opposed to causes cancer. If you
Mhm.
understand where I'm going with that. So, you know, all in all, we have a you know, overall success, to be honest, you
Right,
know, if I
right.
contextualize it in that sense. Um, so I'm really looking forward to it. And, all our viewers, Dominicans are abroad and so on. I like to, if any way you want to support, you can support the farmers, you can support through the association, you know, with funding to be able to put facilities in place to allow other Dominicans to be able to capitalize on what is being started. And that's very important. Access to finance is very important, and having people, human resources available to write projects to even access other financing that become
Mhm.
a association. That's one of the major challenges that we have in Dominica, is human resources in that sense. And of course, you can still outsource those human resources, but you need finance to do so. So that's important, you know.
Yes. So I'm just looking and listening to everyone and the contribution they're making. And I've been doing this program for about 3 years now, and I have to make this important observation because everyone has a full-time job, everyone has a full-time family, other responsibilities. Dylan, just mute for a minute for me. And the one thing I've noticed in doing this program is Dominicans are so committed to Dominica. We always make time, find time to turn that passion we have for Dominica into action. So I just want to, congratulate you guys for what you're doing in terms of livestock in Dominica. But I have to come to you, Lester. Of course, we have a million questions, and of course, we want to talk about the successes and challenges, and especially as it relates to funding. So, how is all of this being funded, and also the success rate? What has been the success rate to date? So, we have a lot of questions on this important initiative. And again, if you're just joining us now, you tune in a little bit late. We are talking about a very exciting opportunity that now exists in Dominica for livestock breeding through imported genetics. So I know you have a lot of questions that you would like to pose. So of course, we're going to invite you to do so in just about 20 minutes. So Lester, over to you.
Yes, Doc. I as you brought that up, I want to say how much I appreciate all of the farmers that took a risk, right?
Yes.
Because they took a risk. All of them put up their own money, Dr.
Mhm.
Matthew. We didn't ask for any, we didn't ask them to go and do this. We didn't ask when we said, hey, we're doing this. Would you like to join us? And 34 farmers said yes. So I want to appreciate the farmers for saying, I have an open mind. And there's a quote that goes, you don't see with your eyes, you see through your eyes. And so these people that took a chance on this, they had a different set of eyes because they saw something that was possible. And that's what makes humanity great, right? Is all the possibilities that we could see for our futures to make our lives better. I also want to appreciate the vet staff because they have been working, like Maggie said, like Dylan said, alongside the farmers to really, go through the process of going to all of the villages and moving around. And this is in addition to their normal work and jobs on a daily basis, right? So they're doing this out of the goodness of their hearts, as and so we're grateful for the collaboration. So what I'll say to you, Doc, is this: whenever you use genetics that are not, natural, let's say you have a live breeding of a goat, a male goat breeds a female goat live, there's not 100% chance that that female goat will get pregnant.
Right.
Just like in our normal human interactions as well, right?
Hmm.
Regarding the artificial insemination, you have about an 80% or so success rate. So 8 out of 10 straws will generally take, right, and produce a pregnancy in that region. That's about the right range. And I want to address the comment from online about the genetically modified products, right? So here's the good news. Just as if I were to use my genetics to help my wife get pregnant, I would go in to see the doctor and they would use my genetics and then they would impregnate my wife's egg in a test tube and then they would insert that into my wife's body. So my genetics are not being modified, just as the animal genetics are not being modified. So these are not new organisms that were introduced to Dominica. These are goats that were specifically bred in South Africa for disease resistance, heat tolerance, and size. So they've been around for a very long time, very very long time. That those genetics for a while, but they just haven't made it. They've some of them have made it to us in the past, but these genetics here are like some of the best of the best of the best, right? So all we've done is we sourced some of the best genetics, and we just use the tube just like they would use our genetics, and we put them into the goats. So there's nothing foreign being introduced to Dominica. This is just part of the natural artificial insemination process that will be similar to humans. Now, go ahead, Doc.
Go ahead, continue.
Yeah. So with that said, the whole premise of this is let's work to try something new so that we can get a different result, right? That's what we want to do. And we also had the support of many people living in the United States, Dominican and not, because at one point we realized how much the shipping was going to be for the tank of nitrogen with the straws, and it was quite significant. Just imagine a tank like the one I have in my hand, like this water bottle here, and we had to fill it. It was probably 4 or 5 times the size of this. We had to fill it with nitrogen, put the straws inside, and then make sure that it stayed upright, it didn't fall over, and then it didn't tip over. So it had to be strapped down inside of a crate, and it could not fly on a plane. It had to get there by boat, right? So all of these things that had to take place to get the genetics down there safely. And so people gave. I am so grateful for people that are generous. I love generous people. If you want to get my attention, be generous. I'm attracted to generosity, right? So there were people that gave. We created a GoFundMe. I want to thank one of the group members that created a GoFundMe. And people, Dr. Matthew, gave so much. And because they gave, we were able to get the genetics. We had to get the medicine for the all of the things involved, right, to make the process successful. And people gave. So thank you for giving. Thank you for being generous. Thank you for being people who care about others. And thank you for having an open mind and an open heart. Those things mean the world to me. So back to you, Dr. Matthew.
Yeah, and while I still have you on the mic, challenges. So right now, what are some of the challenges you're currently facing? Because this program reaches a worldwide audience. So what are some of the challenges that you're facing where the public could potentially support you?
Doc, I'll tell you the good thing that came out of this is we've been able to work through a lot of those challenges because, like I mentioned before, we have a procedure now. So if you ask me, the biggest challenge is how can we scale this, right? How can we do more? How can we make it bigger? How can, instead of 34 farmers, from what I understand, when I talk to Dr. Sentimi, there are about 3,000 people in Dominica that have goats. So we only touch 1% of the population. And they say for any great idea to get traction and momentum, all you need is 10% of the population to be involved. And now you have a movement, right? And so what we're looking to do is to attract more people to this movement. And the way that somebody can get involved is by we have a WhatsApp group that if you could join that we'll be very honored and grateful. And we will talk later on in the program about the co-op. And that is ratified as we speak. It should be done any day now. And that's how we can get involved. Plus, Doc, they've lately, over the last few days, there have been 2 or 3 funding opportunities, anywhere from the region of $60,000 that this organization can benefit from, and even more. There's a second one that came out a few days ago of a lot of funds that are available. So if you're a grant writer, if you know how to do proposals, if you know how to creative finding money all over the place, we need your help. We love your support. Please reach out to us and help us grow this thing so we can impact all 3,000 goat farmers in Dominica.
Yes, very well said. And do me a favor, in the private chat, go ahead and post the contact information, including how to join the WhatsApp group as well. Any information you want to share, social media, website, phone number, email address, go ahead and post it in the private chat, and I'll be sure to read it out for you. But let me come back to you, Maggie and Dylan, because I like that Dylan keeps talking about organic farming and organic nature of what we do in Dominica, because I always like to think of Dominica under the brand of Nature Island, right? So part of the brand of Nature Island is all this organic produce that we're thinking about. So what are your thoughts in terms of incorporating what you're doing with the Dominica Livestock Cooperative into the Nature Island brand? So Dylan, do you have some thoughts on that?
Well, yes, of course. Uh, just like what I've mentioned before, in terms of the Dominican Organic Agriculture Movement, we're a movement that have been around for a couple of years. We've had our successes, we've had our challenges over the years, like any organization in Dominica. But of course, one of those have been access to finance. And we have been lobbying for certification program. We have been lobbying for banning of certain chemicals. Up to this day, I know only one was banned, which was glyphosate, which is the active ingredient um, in Roundup and so on. But in terms of programs that can be done through the association to support farmers, we're really looking to partner with the association, the livestock cooperative, in terms of their membership, because of course all of their membership would be people involved in rearing animals, so on and so forth. And of course, like I mentioned, once we can increase these farmers, percentages in terms of their livestock, we have more inputs available, more inputs, in terms of for growing, we can grow more naturally. You understand? Because we are a nature island, and for us to remain the nature island, and of course we're also known as the food basket of the Caribbean, correct? Um, so if we're gonna continue with that, with that branding and to even expand it, we have to look very closely at how we want to get to that 700 million, or how we want to get to that, or to become first climate resilient nation. How we're gonna go about doing that. How we're gonna support our farmers, the type of inputs we're gonna start giving them and subsidizing for them, to make it easier to reach that goal. And the way I see it is really is funding compost facilities across the island, where all of these farmers, these 3,000 farmers, you're saying that we can start to affect, a little by little, will have access to those facilities where they can convert their raw material into compost material. That'll raise the value, that will become available for all of our farmers, and then of course, for growing this climate resilient food that we have, so that we can increase the amount that we can produce and stay within that context of climate resilient. You know, it's very very important, because chemicals, like I mentioned earlier, causes prostate cancer, is the leading cause of prostate cancer in Martinique and Guadeloupe, because of chloroquine. When they were growing all the bananas in the 1950s, 1960s, a lot of this chemical was used, and leached in to the oceans, and even some of the fishers lost their livelihood because of that. And there were protests about that. Some people would know about the protests going on about that, and people have cancer today, and it's because of this. So we're trying to sensitize the population about the detriments of using this type of chemicals and so on. And it's sad to see some farmers sometimes with the knapsack spraying, and they don't have no boots, they don't have no long pants, and they have no idea the kind of effect that is having on their life and the life of the environment, and others. Because you see, chemicals destroy all the microorganisms in the soil. And when you destroy the microorganisms in the soil, you're not able to sequester carbon, right? So carbon is just leaching. You're losing that carbon source. You're losing fertility. You're losing production over the years, and then your soil eventually becomes desertified, right? And then it takes a very very long time to be able to regenerate that soil, and a lot of organic matter to regenerate that soil. So we want to stop. We kind of want to slowly stop the use of those chemicals and transition, and we have to show the the farmers the benefit of doing that, and that it is cost effective in terms of labor, because a lot of farmers have that challenge in terms of finding labor and so on. And if they understand that going organic using mulch, mulch can last up to 8 months, 6 months, a year, depending on the type of mulch that you use. And you don't have to be weeding. You can just move your mulch, put your compost, and grow again. You can grow two crops sometimes in the same feeding with compost. You understand? And it's very small. It's 1 pound per square foot for vegetables, 5 pounds for banana. You know, and you don't have to buy it. If you're on your farm, you have your livestock. You don't have to buy it. But if even if you're not a livestock farmer, with certain implementations, you can get easy access to it, and we don't have to import it.
Excellent,
We
excellent.
maintain the brand.
Yeah, very, very educational program, I must admit. Maggie, your thoughts on incorporating this into, the Nature Island brand that I believe we should be marketing everything Dominica under, from agriculture to dance to culture to music to art. I don't think there's anything in Dominica that cannot be marketed under our brand of Nature Island. So how do you see this as part of the Nature Island brand?
What amazed me was that I have Animal Down, and so many people, you would be surprised
Mhm.
to see the amount of people that come and buy Animal Down.
Wow.
They will say they want goat down, rabbit down, chicken down, or a mix. And it is quite a bit of people sourcing natural manure. I mean, people will come by me on a weekly basis for 15 bags and 20 bags of fertilizer. And I remember my dad using fertilizer. So it is a nature island, as small as it is, we cannot continue to damage our soil, because gramazone and all those things go down in our water stream, because it doesn't have to go that far. It's a small place. And the more we keep bathing our soil with the those resources that we buy in the stores, it continues to damage the soil. But a lot of people, a lot of farmers, especially vegetable farmers, they use fertilizer, and it works, because I don't use anything else but compost or natural fertilizer, which is manure, in my vegetable. And I get just as much yield as somebody else that use other types of input. So it is something that we really embrace, and I would like to see more people embrace it. And we can also use it, as Dylan said, in banana. We think that we can only use it in vegetables, but we can use it in larger crops, our citrus, our cocoa. And I do, and I see improvement. And my soil is rich, because when this man came to, he's a French guy, and he told me what happened in Martinique and Guadeloupe, and they don't buy any more um, artificial materials anymore. They use only natural resources, and we have it to availability. And I wish more of us would embrace it, because it does work, and it is better for your health, and we can reduce on all these cancers that we continuously have in Dominica. So
Mhm.
it's a good thing, and it's a good brand for our country, because supermarkets like Massey and all those big name brands come to Dominica to get our material. We send carrots and lettuce and eggplants to St. Lucia, Antigua, and everywhere, because we have natural stuff. And I can keep one of my tomatoes on my counter for 3 weeks, and it will not spoil. It will just get sweeter and sweeter
Wow. For 3 weeks.
for 3 weeks or more. And it will not wilt or get soft and soggy. It just sits there and gets just ripe and sweet.
Mhm. Because that is what Mother Nature intended, for it to grow
Exactly,
organically.
exactly.
Yeah, but let me come to you, Lester, because I'm listening to Maggie and Dylan, and it begs the question of secondary industries and other emerging industries that can come from this. Because when we listen to Maggie talking about selling 15 bags of manure, pure fertilizer, it begs the question, are you thinking in terms of other industries that can emerge out of this livestock cooperative that you're forming in Dominica? So that, and just share any other thoughts. We have to go to the phones in a little while, so guys, get ready. If you would like to call in, we'll have the numbers right after Lester responds to this question.
Yes,
Very exciting, Lester. I have to agree.
oh boy, Doc, I'll tell you that there's so many byproducts. I mean, one of the things, if I live in California, I've been here for 26 years, and if I hear a lapoka beat, I cannot move. I cannot not move my feet.
Same
Right? If
here.
I hear a drum, if I hear anything, pang, 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 I ready to chip.
It's
Okay.
in our blood.
Exactly. So even from like Dylan and Maggie were talking about, yes, you have the manure, you have the skin of the animals, you have the hooves, you have the bones. A lot of people like bone broth to this day. You can do all these things, right? And so you not only do you have that, there's so much you can do, right? You can some people use that as a business. They can use their goats to clear out pieces of land for people. So instead of using the Grammar zone that Dylan was talking about or Maggie was talking about, you can start a good business to clear out plots of land for people so that they can do their farming, right? So there's so many things that can come as a result of this, in addition to the meat and the selling the actual animals live weight. All kinds of things can come out of that. So there are many enterprises that can be developed because of somebody saying yes to this type of thinking. And that's all we're working to do, is to improve our thinking. And what we're looking to do in addition is to standardize the price for our raw materials. So standardizing the price for goat meat, because you can go to one farmer today and it's $9 live weight. The other person in the other part of the country sells it for $7 live weight. The other person sells $16 a pound of meat. The other person sells $11 a pound of meat. So that's another thing that we're working to do, is to standardize everything so that the people involved that are making these investments can turn a profit for their families as well.
Yeah, and that's across the board, because I've heard also in terms of agriculture in general that one farmer might be selling bananas for this price, another one is selling it for that price. So that is a very important point that you're raising in terms of standardization across the board when it comes to livestock and farming in Dominica. But I want you to catch your breath, maybe take a sip of water as we go over to the studio for to invite our callers, and then I'm going to Facebook to take our comments. But in case you're wondering, we are here talking about an opportunity that now exists for breeding livestock in Dominica via importing genetics. And of course, if you missed any part of the program, remember you can always catch the replay on Q95 FM radio on Facebook and Push Past 10 on Facebook, or Q95 FM radio on YouTube. And I encourage you to share this program via Facebook, via the YouTube link, so that we're looking for more farmers to become a part of this cooperative. So our guests this evening are Mr. Lester Barron out there in California, Miss Magdalene Kofi from Dominica, but she's currently in Antigua, and Mr. Dylan Williams in Dominica. So Lambi, let me come over to you so you can share the phone numbers. And then Lester, I want to come back to you, and we're going to talk about a very important event that is happening this Saturday. So keep that in mind as we go over to the studio. Lambi, over to you. You're muted. Lambi, you're muted. You're still muted, Lambi. No, we can't hear. Okay, so while we're working on unmuting the studio, let us go over to Facebook to see what your comments are. So I guess we can begin with the first question that Cody asked. And he says, what research has been done on the long-term effects of consuming genetically modified products? But again, I think Lester already responded to that by saying it is actually not genetically modified products, because we're simply taking goats from another breed of goats to inseminate into goats in Dominica. So I think we had a response. But Cody, very good question. Thank you for that. Anthony Simon says, good evening, Doc and the panel. O'Neill Stedman, very interesting program. Errol Emmanuel, nice to see you, Errol. Thank you for being here. PPEs are important and there should be no compromise by farm operators. So I want to take that question because I think that it's an important one, and then we will move on. So let us talk about PPE, protective clothing, Lester. Is that part of this initiative? And Lambi, I'm not sure if you can unmute so we can invite the callers. I'm not sure if Sherwin is around to assist with that because you're still muted. I can see the mic is muted. You may have to unmute on the computer. Yeah, unmute on the computer. Yes, Lester, go ahead.
Dylan, this is Dylan's expertise, his area of expertise with PPEs and the organic nature of doing things. Dylan, why don't you take that question?
Okay.
Sure, I think that question must have arisen when I was talking about the use of chemical fertilizer earlier, by farmers without, the special protective gears, like boots, gloves, overalls, to ensure that that chemical that you spray in, mass, right? That chemical that you spray in doesn't get in contact with your five senses, your skin, you understand, to protect yourself. And that begs the question, if you have to be going through all that and using all of that protection, against something that you sprayed on your food, and then you have to eat that food. You don't have no protection, when you're eating the food. You get what I'm saying? You're eating it afterwards, and that giving us cancer, and then we're wondering why. Why? All we have to do is really look at the source of what we're getting. And that's why I'll go back to that question again about opportunities where they talk about, what opportunities there is. And I'll go back to the manual question again, compost. That I believe is one of the largest opportunities and greatest opportunities. Besides food security, of course, and having access to more meat on the market. Inputs is very important because, when we have a lot of goods, and we're going to have a lot of inputs, we have a lot more food, natural food, naturally grown food. Then we can start to, heal the population, and it wouldn't be from sources that are genetically modified. You understand? Because I also, look into GMOs as it relates to seeds. That's also important. The kind of seed material that we import into the island. That's very important to look into, as well as not only goats but chicken. The type of chicken we import into the island and whether that is genetically modified or not. And if we can, try and support our local poultry farmers to increase the amount of, non-GMO chicken and so on. But yes, to answer his question, there's no reason why a farmer should be using these harmful chemicals without the kind of protective gear. I know that the Dominica Bureau of Standards have the DOMGAP certification standards that they put in place recently. I'm also part of that program, even if it's not as strict as I want it to be because I'm all organic. But it's a step in the right direction where they're telling you to take certain precautions, to store certain chemicals in certain areas, to ensure protection of the farmer. In one sense, yes, but not really the environment and the end consumer, really.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good point because going organic means that we can move away from even needing the PPEs because you have less farmers using the chemicals to protect their soil. So I think that is actually is working in the favor of what we're talking about this evening. But go ahead and mute your mic, Dylan and Lambi. Can you hear us now? No, we still can't hear you. I'm not sure. Nope, we can't hear you. Yeah, so let's continue. And then Errol also says branding is important, so we must ensure all the systems are in place to stand up to brand scrutiny. So absolutely correct. So while we're waiting for the studio, let's jump into what is going on Saturday. So tell us about what is happening this Saturday.
Doc, and I want to give everybody a little bit of backstory about this because,
Yes.
I just want everybody to know that this is not me and Dylan and Maggie independently doing things on our own. We are doing this in collaboration under the supervision of Dr. Sentemi. Okay,
Yes.
one of the things that he mentioned to me when we met in person, he said, Lester, my priority for Dominica is small ruminants. Okay, so which means sheep, goats, rabbits, whatever else falls in that category, pigs. Okay, those are probably the biggest categories there. And so what we decided to do is to take each one of these at a time. So we started out with the goat genetics. Now we're doing live goats. I wish I could show you. I wish I could share my screen on here because we do have things prepared. But I'll just give you an idea. Some of you that are watching me right now, I printed it out so you can see the size of goats we're talking about. Everybody are not our what we call our gatewas. Okay, these
Yes, we can see. So, guys, again, Facebook, YouTube, if you want to see what Lester is referring to.
yes, yeah. So these animals are far superior in size compared to what we're used to. And so what we're looking to do now is we found a way from our neighboring islands to bring in these genetics that was sourced in the United States and in Europe and other places as well. So the next phase, we did phase 1, which is the genetics on island. That phase is now complete. We may come back to it in the future, depending on the success, but that phase for genetics is now complete. The next phase now is live animal, bringing in live goats to Dominica. So there are three important times I'd like for you all to remember that are coming up now. Number one, next week we are bringing in live savannah goats into Dominica from Antigua. So if there's anybody that's listening and you say, I would like to be a part of this program, please join our WhatsApp group. I will share the QR code here in a moment, but it will also be available afterwards. Okay. But here's the QR code. Take a picture of that, a screenshot. Try to scan it right now if you don't mind. But join the WhatsApp group, okay? Because what we're looking to do is to bring in live goats, savannah goats from Antigua starting next week. So Maggie has already gotten a pair on the last
Okay.
shipment. She got one male and one female from a very reputable breeder. Dylan is actually ordering 3 of them right now himself. And I'm so excited for that. And we have many other farmers involved, but there's limited stock. So if you're interested and you want to be a part of the shipment, please be a part of the shipment. So that's the Savannah goat, and that was also developed in South Africa. The next shipment we're going to be doing is in September. So if you say, boy, that next week they're too tight for me, it's too soon, we're going to be bringing Kalahari red goats from Martinique. And these are some of the top quality goats that we've seen as well. And so that is mid-September. So if you want to be a part of that shipment to bring in some hybrid animals to Dominica, you're welcome to doing that. And the third shipment is we're looking to do something very big in December. So early December, so that it gets there before Christmas, we plan on importing 50 animals, 50, from the United States. So that includes Boa, it includes Kalahari Red, Nubian, Senan, it includes Savannah. I said that, yeah, Savannah. It includes Kiko goats, as well as Toggenburg, Alpine, and a few other breeds. So we're going to try to bring in a beautiful shipment. And so if 50 farmers say we want to do it, we'll do one each, right? And here's the best part, Dr. Simone. We found a lady that converted a 40-foot container into an animal carrying machine. So she set up water stations, she set up feeding stations, and on top, she put stations that they can bring down the feed for the animals. So the bales of alfalfa will be stationed on the top, and the animals have room. I wish I could show you the pictures. It is so exciting. But when you join our WhatsApp group, I will drop some of those pictures in there. So I'm excited to share with you that the live animals are coming, and we're going to continue to do that in the next few months. Next week is 1 July, then mid-September, then early December. Free shipments coming up. Take advantage of this.
Right. So I'm actually just going through because I know you had sent me some messages, but do you have a website? Because we have to keep in mind that not everyone is on social media. So do you have a website where these dates are listed so anyone can take a look? So go ahead and post it in the private chat, and I will share it on Facebook. And I will also read it out to you. Lambi, do you want to try again to see if it's working? I'm not sure why we can't hear you. Yeah, so for some reason, the studio is not working, so we're going to continue along here. So very importantly, we're talking about importing genetics, but we're always concerned about our young people. especially as it relates to agriculture, because there is a prevailing notion in Dominica that young people are not interested in agriculture, they're not interested in farming, they're not interested in livestock. Pretty much, they're not interested in anything that involves being in the hot sun and getting their hands dirty. So, is there a role for young people? Are you actively engaging young people in this initiative? And if so, how are you doing so? And if not yet, how do you intend to do so?
Doc, that's a great question. And yes, we have engaged young people and we are engaging more. So there are many of the people who are part of the AI program that are young people, right?
Yeah,
If you say young, that probably in their 20s,
yeah,
right? We also have people that are part of the overall group that are young people. So on our current WhatsApp group, we have about 180 farmers or so on our WhatsApp group, for goat farmers specifically. And we're looking to get that number over 10%. So we're looking for 250 by the end of this program. We're looking to go from 180 to 250. Okay, that's our objective. Now, I'll tell you what I also did. The last time I was in Dominica, which was a few weeks ago, maybe for Easter, I was in Dominica for Easter. I connected with the principal of the Dominica Community High School. And I actually went to community high school and I took a tour, and she shared with me all of the wonderful things that our youth are doing and learning at the Dominica Community High School. I saw the cucumbers that they were growing. I saw their fowl house, and I saw the pig pen they have, the rabbit hutches they have over there. And the reality is we want to invest in our young people. And so one of the things that we can do as a group, as a community, diaspora, Dominican or non-Dominican, what we would love to do is to support the youth. And so we're currently working at the community high school as we speak to raise funding for them to be able to buy more rabbits, more pigs, more chickens, some goats, some sheep, because they have the land to do it, and to provide support for them with feed and minerals and everything that they need to have a thriving flock and herd, to be able to teach the youth how to go to the next level. There's some water tanks that need to be installed. Many things need to happen. So we have a list of things that we put in place. Dr. Matthew, maybe with the next time we talk, we can talk specifically about how we support the next generation. And so if anybody's interested in doing that, please reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram. Please reach out to me in the WhatsApp. And what's happening right now is not specifically what we're doing with the importing of live animals yet, but currently the Dominica Livestock Cooperative is being ratified. Okay, and so I do have the QR codes for that as well, Doc, where somebody can join the DLC Instagram. Just go on Instagram, Dominica Livestock Cooperative. Look the same thing on Facebook, Dominica Livestock, and join us there. Scan the QR code, be a part of what we're doing. Please take a photo of that, a screenshot, and again, we'll share it later on in the chats with you. Okay, Doc, I'll find a way to get that to you right now.
yes,
But if you can
yes.
scan this and be a part of the movement, that would be very helpful. Connect with us and connect with the DLC. Matter of fact, my family and I just became members of the, we're trying to get the co-op ratified. We need 10 people to say yes to us to make it official. My family and I just became members today, right? Because we want to say that we're not just saying to do it, we're doing it as well. So for those of you that would like to be a part of the Dominica Livestock Cooperative, I would recommend it, because the cooperative is going to be really the tip of the spear to help organize everything that we have going on, and to bring opportunities as the leaders see appropriate, so that we can create group power, right? Which means what? If we want to buy fencing wire, we can do it as a group and pay less for the transportation and shipping. If we want to do seeds and you want to import seeds, we can do it as a group. If you want to import animals or genetics or whatever is important to the group at that time, the DLC will be able to organize everything and to be able to facilitate for the farmers, right? So I'm excited about that, and I would encourage all of you to join the DLC. If you're local in Dominica, please go down to the cooperative division and say, I would like to be a part of the Dominica Livestock Cooperative. If you're overseas and you want to support, join the Instagram, join the Facebook, go online, find us there. And what you can do is DM the people, the administrators there, and they'll be able to support you. Okay.
Right.
So
And do you have an email address? Because we want to make sure people have multiple ways for reaching the cooperative. So do you have an email address that we can share with them?
Doc, what I will do is I'll put the details in the chat for us before the end of the program. Okay?
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So let me come over to you, Maggie and Dylan. Are you guys involved in the youth? Are you finding that the young people in Dominica are interested in being a part of that? And then I want us to broaden the conversation and talk about the importance of, sustainable development, because that is the overall arching goal of what you're trying to do here. Sustainable development, sustainable economic development. So have you tried engaging young people? What are your observations in Dominica in terms of young people and being involved in something like what you're doing?
Okay, I will go. We are involving youth into agriculture. To my surprise, there's quite a number of youth around me that are part of the agricultural movement.
Good.
I am part of a women's group in the central region, and we encouraged a bunch of young people, families of women that were already on the group, and they brought in their friends, and we had a very large number of the youth. So we created a youth arm to support them to be able to develop a youth arm for agriculture, and it is quite successful. They are now trying to be on their own as an independent group, or not just as a youth arm of our group. So there's a lot of young people in the central region, in Bells, Sylvina, Sultan, Warner, that are involved in farming. They might not be known, but they are involved in it because it has been a family practice. So when we planted white potato this year, there were a lot of new young men who planted. I know a young man in my area who planted 12 bags of
Good.
potato. And I mean, they have goats and they have other animals. So they are involved in it. It's just that we need to find markets for them. We need to encourage them. We need to get them more motivated in trying to get grants because the money is not available. Because right now they are stuck as they took loans to plant potatoes, and the potatoes didn't do well because we had a very, very bad summer, or Karem as we call it. So, and we're trying to let them know that you might have not made out a big profit, or you might end up having money to pay that you don't have, but don't let that discourage you. There's a large number of young people that are in farming. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, Dylan, what has been your observations on that?
Yes. For as long as I've been in farming, um, I've heard that we have the challenge of young people being interested in farming and so on. And as a young person getting into it, 15 years into it, um, but I was able to talk with other young people concerning the challenges of the sector over the years, and especially being involved in something like organic, where people believe it takes more. Talking to farmers that are willing to convert, they come to the realization it's actually easier. So talking with younger farmers, they have certain challenges as it relates to labor, how hard certain tasks can be, access to finance for inputs, access to land, is a major challenge. So there's always been a call for government making certain plots of land available for them, and access to markets is a major one. We have differing opinions on markets, because some people say there are markets, some people say there are no markets, but really is how you set up yourself to access certain markets that are available. Because being part of the association, where we have talked to a lot of players in the market, and a lot of these major supermarket chains import a large amount of food, right? These fresh markets and wheat churches and so on import a lot. I've gone over some statistics from the statistics department, from Ministry of Trade, and we import thousands of pounds of various fruits and vegetables that we could be growing locally. But you wonder why don't they buy everything that they can get locally? Is because they cannot get the amount that they want in a sustainable manner. You understand? They want to have that assurance that they can get that amount every week, or every 2 weeks, if they are to turn their supplies away from these large chains, we need to ensure that we can follow up with that. So that is some of the challenges that there is within the sector. And you see, if we could mimic what the Dominica Marketing Company did for bananas, but for other crops, it will make things so much easier.
Right.
Because if there's an association in place that can do the organizing, you know, then that takes up so much challenges and coordination and so on. And all you have to do is focus on the planting,
Mm-hmm.
and we know it have markets just waiting for it. We have a peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Am I-
I'd like to add something, Dylan, which
Yes,
is
go ahead, Lester.
you're sharing there. I have a success story of a young farmer, Dylan. He
Mute,
actually
Dylan, mute, please.
he doesn't live too far from you, Dylan. And this young guy, he inspires me, right? And I'll tell you that his name is Nishon. I won't say his last name, but this guy is a butcher, and he's so passionate about being a butcher. Dylan, this guy goes all over Dominica. He gets cows, he gets goats, he gets pigs, he gets sheep, he gets rabbits, chickens, anything he can get. And he always sends me pictures. And I just get so inspired and excited by his example. Because I know he says, Lester, boy, you know what? I tried to buy a van next. I tried to buy a van next. Because every time I go posse with my meat, my meat sells out. I have no more meat. I sell my meat in about 20 minutes. All my meat is gone. So I love hearing these stories because
Yes.
there are more people like Nishon. It's not just he. There are many others that are looking to do right what he's doing. And I will tell you, Doc, I just pulled up my information there. And guess what? Guess what? I found out about some programs. I wanted to say it live because I
Yes.
took the notes. There's a grant that we just learned about just a couple days ago. Between $100,000 and $500,000 is available,
Wow.
right? And we posted that on our WhatsApp chat. So if you can join us here, look on the chat here and get the information from WhatsApp. We'll post it later for everybody. There's another grant. Well, I heard about something in Dominica. It's called the Emergency Agricultural Livelihood and Climate Resilience Project. There's 40,000 EC in grant funding for different enterprises in Dominica right now. Plus the 60,000 I talked about earlier. They just extended the deadline for that. So there are a lot of people that have ideas. They're doing the work already, Dylan, right? Nagi, and they want funding for this, and it's available. We just get organized. Go to email Dominica Livestock Cooperative at gmail.com.
Yes.
Dominica Livestock Cooperative at gmail.com. And get your questions answered. Reach out and we'll see how we can support you. And we're just getting ratified. It's not official yet. I have to say that for the record. And we're still accepting memberships in advance so we can get across the bridge. Back to you, Doc.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. Yes, go ahead, Dylan.
Intervention there again concerning that topic there.
Mhm.
To re-emphasize the importance for young people again, the importance of being part of a cooperative or association. But I know we have a little phobia behind that. You feel like we have a little phobia behind groups and so on. Oh, it's another meeting, nothing happening. Oh, another meeting, nothing happening.
Yeah.
But if we come together as a grassroots organization, where the people support one another and they come together, things can be cheaper. And to share my experience with the goat import, normally if you have to do it by yourself, let's say the cost for importing in terms of the shipping, the goats from Antigua is roughly about, let's say, $6,000-7,000, right? More or less. You would have to pay that by yourself.
Right.
Now there's about 7 of us involved. So that reduced the cost to about $1,000 cost to import the goods. You see, so that's an immediate benefit there that we reap from being part of a grouping. You understand? And the same can be it can be the same for other material and other interventions that the group the members as a group can go on. And of course, being part of a group, when the group get access to funding, The members of the association are the ones that will gain the benefit, and the benefit by being members, paid members. You understand? Subsidies on inputs. Sometimes you get it for free. Access to grant financing to support your project. You understand? So being part of this is very important. I like to make another note, concerning young people in farming. I'm a young farmer that have been involved in growing cannabis for 15 years. And I have a lot of peers that is involved in growing cannabis. And we know a lot of youth in all of the villages in Dominica. We have more cannabis farmers, young farmers involved in cannabis than there are farmers involved in agriculture in Dominica. And that's a fact. In every village, you have thousands of youth, and that's because of the kind of return they believe, and not just believe, that they're experiencing by reaping of growing cannabis and selling it on the market. You understand? So, and a lot of these farmers are also involved in growing crops. You understand? So that is a labor base that we can tap into, and we always discussing. Boy, our labor has been, mostly Haitians, Haitian nationals, but we lost a lot of Haitian nationals recently. So we have challenges right now with sourcing adequate amounts of labor in Dominica. But if we free up the herb in Dominica once and for all, in 2017, 2018, where people came down, we had a national consultation, documents was presented, studies throughout the Caribbean showing the benefits of cannabis, you know, um, you know, in terms of the health benefits and so on, the economic benefits. The whole world is taking advantage of this thing right now, and we will staying behind. So if we open up the opportunities that exist for cannabis, the amount of young farmers are going to be opening up, that will be able to gain access to, that will be able to bring into the food chain. You know, there's a lot of opportunity there. So yeah, so I appealing to our leaders to really move a little quicker as it relates to the cannabis issue. You know,
Yeah,
um,
and I like what you're saying because it's about meeting young people where they are, right? But
yeah,
I also like young butchers because Dylan, mute for me, please. I like what Lester shared about that young butcher because again, yet another industry that would be part of this because now that you have more goats, more meats, more supplies, you're gonna have need for more butchers, right? So we can see the ripple effect. We can see the ripple effect that this one program taking root in Dominica will create the other opportunities that will come from a program such as this. And Ron Charles on Facebook says it very well. He says small ruminants, goats, and sheep are a good fit for livestock production in Dominica. Access to superior genetics, together with an effective farmer organization and knowledgeable farmers, would provide the desirable foundation. And he says, best wishes. So let's see your thoughts on what Ron is saying and anything else you would like to share at this point in time.
Yeah, Ron, thank you for your kind words and thank you for the encouragement, right? And thank you for the best wishes. I will tell you that when it comes to the future of animals in Dominica, future of livestock in Dominica, I believe that inch by inch, anything's a cinch. My mom taught me that when I was younger. And what I would love to say is I would encourage every one of us to come together like the groups of farmers have already done so. What we did, Dr. Simone, so that we could start building momentum in other areas right now on WhatsApp. And again, we'll share all of this with you all. I'm sure that we'll probably make it one of the posters or one of the things that we drop in the links of the chat later on. But there's a community now, right, formed by the Dominica Livestock Cooperative on WhatsApp where you could access rabbits, you could access pigs if you're a pig farmer, sheep, goats, cows. All of the things that we're talking about tonight is not just only going to apply to goats, it's going to apply to every other type of livestock eventually. So the community is already formed. Again, we will thank you for your patience with us in getting the information to you. But if you look here, I have a picture of the groups that have already formed on there. So feel free to join these groups. Join us on WhatsApp. Dr. Simone put the link here. I'm sure we'll share it on Facebook, on YouTube. We'll share it everywhere with you, especially in the notes for the program. And I just want to encourage everybody to join us in this progress that we're making, because it's exciting, it's new, it's innovative, it's cutting edge. It's creating a buzz, and we would love for you to be a part of the buzz. I have people texting me right now and messaging me on WhatsApp. One of my friends said, "Bro, I was supposed to go to sleep early tonight. You have me listening to this program all night long." So thank you for the enthusiasm, everybody. Thank you for supporting what the vision is, which is to help people, right? I say in this world, there are two types of systems. There's greed and self-centeredness, and there's caring and sharing. And what this is about caring and sharing. I know that when, like, I live in the United States, and I know the statistics of the United States, especially financially, Dr. Simone, because cost of living in the US is not easy, right? And it keeps getting higher. But here's what I'll say to my friends who live not just in the United States, but around the world. Even if it's $5 you send, or even if you contribute, you say, "I want to be a part of the livestock cooperative." Or if next time we have an initiative, you say, "You know what, let me contribute a little something to the initiative for it." It's not for us living here, it's to support our people back home, to enhance our country, to enhance the population, to enhance young farmers like Nishon, right? Who want to have a butchering business, who want to buy a transport, even if it's an old van for now to start, right? That you can move around with. But people have hopes, they have dreams, they have aspirations, they have desires, and all it needs is a few of us to believe in the beauty of their dreams. I love what that one author said. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And that is what I love about what we're doing tonight, is we're igniting dreams, and we're sharing, look, we've opened the door, now let's flood it with energy, with support, with financial support, with resources, with your creativity, your skill set. And we may have talked about things tonight here, and you go, "Well, I have a better idea." Bring it to the table, right? We welcome your ideas. We're not threatened by your ideas. We're not threatened by your creativity. We actually want your skill set. We don't want to cover your lamp. We want to illuminate. We want to make your lamp bright. We want to, highlight your skill set. So I want to thank again everybody who has been supporting what we're doing, and I encourage all of you who would like to be a part of this, because one day you're going to look up and you're going to say, "Bonje, that's a cow? No, it's a goat that in Dominica." So can you imagine when you pass a goat in Dominica and you think it's a cow? Wait until you see them. Back to you, Dr. Matthew.
Right. Thank you, Lester, for your enthusiasm and for sharing all this wonderful information. And of course, remember to follow Q95 FM radio, because I'm hoping this is not our final program, Lester. I really want to stay on top of the developments, on top of everything that you and Dylan and Maggie, who had to leave us before the end of the program, and your cooperative and everything that you're doing, again, for the benefit of Dominica. And we'd like to talk even beyond Dominica, the region, the rest of the world. So I know you mentioned Antigua, but are there other islands that are involved in this initiative, and in what way?
Doc, I'm so happy you asked that question, because there's a gentleman, the farm that we're getting the Kalahari red goats from in Matnik. He's one of the most passionate people I've ever met about goats in my life. My best friend of 31 years said to me, "Lester, for the first time, I met somebody that's more passionate about goats than you." And he said that with a big laugh.
I find that hard to imagine, Lester.
I'm telling you, if you can imagine that, the fella is breathing, eating, drinking, sleeping. If he could put goats in his veins, he would do it, honestly, right? But I'll tell you right now that he is so excited, because we're right next door to Matnik. And he said to me, "Lester, I want to have a competition." He says, "I want to see which island can raise the best goats. Is it Matnik or is it Dominica?"
Good.
I said, "Bro, there is no contest. Wait and see what we can do in Dominica, because once you put something in Dominica, the like Dylan was saying, the amount of food resources, the clean water that we have, the expertise, how we work together, will be second to none." So we look forward to having competitions. Who has the best goat? Who has the best sheep? Who has the best cow? Who has the best rabbit? Who has the best chickens? And the other day, Dr. Matthew, I remember something called Donkey Derby. I don't know if you remember
Yes, me
Donkey
too.
Derby,
Let me
right?
tell you, Lester, do you know our current generation? I was hosting a program recently, and this young guy, he must be in his early 30s, and I mentioned Donkey Derby, and he told me, I have no idea what you're talking about. I said, oh my God, there are people who do. Dylan, do you know what is a Donkey Derby? You're mute, you're unmute.
No, I said I've heard of it, but
Oh wow! You see, we're losing so much of our culture and traditions, Lester. People have forgotten what is donkey derby.
We have to bring it back. We have to bring it
Yes,
back.
yes.
We have to bring it back. And things like that. Even having a place where we can do horse races in Dominica. I've seen so many beautiful horses around the island. Right? Dylan used to have horses. I know there are horses in Portsmouth and
I
other
still have
parts.
one.
You still have one, right, Dylan? There are horses. Where's that area? Daily Seaside has horses, and all there are a lot of horses on the island, right? So if we can have a horse race eventually and have people experience what it looks like to have animals that grew up on our island, that we bred, that we nurtured to the stature of excellence, and then we can have some fun with it. Oh my gosh, why not do those things, right? And give our youth a new perspective on what being outdoors means, what being in nature means, what learning how to care for something as a baby and grow up means, right? And those things breed skills into people and skill sets that are very, very hard to give in an education, a traditional educational setting. You can learn in school, and I find that education sacred because I am educated, and you can be educated outdoors as well in other areas. So I'm excited for those developments.
Yeah, so the potential is limitless when you think about it. But Dylan, let me come to you, and our time is quickly running down on us. We only have about 20 minutes left, so hopefully we can get some phone calls in. I think Sherwin is going to work on that for us in a minute. But Dylan, what do you see as the future of this program, the future of agriculture? I know we have a goal of what, 700 million in revenue for agriculture in by what, 2030, I believe was the goal. But what do you see for the future of this program and the future of agriculture in Dominica?
I'll just be repeating myself
Mm-hmm.
because some of the statements that I've made earlier in the program did touch on the implications for the future. But just to go over it again, like I was saying, the opportunity with the new genetics, giving us the ability to have larger animals, giving us the ability to have more inputs available for ourselves personally and for our peers, to be able to plant more food and but to plant sustainably, to plant naturally. um, so I can see the implications, and ramifications in terms of maintaining the quality of our food and upgrading the quality of our food chain. Healing people, healing the population. I mean, being able to eat, proper food, especially in the morning, have such a large impact on how the rest of your day goes. You know, and eating a healthy meal is important for that to happen, for the brain to function properly. You know, so I see a lot of implications for the future. So yeah, in terms of the genetics, in terms of the inputs, in terms of you know planting, that is going to increase the value of our crops. It's going to increase the revenue. It will increase the amount of youth that can get involved in the program. So I see more youth being involved in agriculture because of this program, in the future. So it has a lot of benefits, for the
Yeah,
future, and I
yeah,
look forward.
yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing that. And Lester, we like to touch on different Dylan, mute for me. We like to make sure we're calling out to everyone when we do programs like this. So we talk about the role of the ministry. We talked about youth involvement. We talk about the broader picture of economic development of using the Nature Island brand. But we also have to talk about the role of the diaspora, our Dominica brothers and sisters who are away, but who are just as passionate about contributing to a program such as this. So, one of the areas you mentioned is needing someone in the area of grant writing. And I want to repeat that because we want to make sure that we reinforce that that is an area that you are needing right now. You need someone who is good with grant writing, and I know I've interviewed folks that are competent in that area. So we're calling out to you again. The email address is Dominica Livestock Cooperative, and livestock is Livestock, Dominica Livestock Cooperative at gmail.com. If you are passionate, if you see a role that you can play, if you want to connect with this organization. But Lester, can you think of other ways that the diaspora can make a contribution in this initiative?
Doc, while we're sitting here right now, one of my childhood friends that I just got connected with today from one of our chats is messaging me. And you know what he said? This is so inspiring to me. He said, Lester, now I know, I think I can find use for what I can do with our land in Dominica. Wow. So guess
Wow.
what? These conversations, these initiatives, the things that we're doing will spark new ideas in people that live outside of the United States. And they go, but of course we can do this, but of course we can stay from here and work together with people locally and build something. Like right now, for example, I'll give you an example of me, Dr. Simone. I myself live in California, right? I live in the States. My livelihood is here. This is how I bring in my income. Okay. So I don't have plans to go back to Dominica immediately, but I'm in Dominica all the time. And guess what? What I did is I partnered up with somebody that I trust in Dominica, a very good friend of mine. And I said, as much as I love goats, I am not there to watch the goats every day. But can we form a partnership together where we can work together and I can invest side by side with you and we share in the benefits of that partnership? He said, absolutely. Right? So I bring my resources, he brings his resources, and whatever that looks like, and we partner up. Even if I'm in the States, I can still participate in doing something good with a trusted party in Dominica. So I just want to encourage everybody, whether you're on the ground in Dominica or you're outside of Dominica, there's stuff that you can do. You can utilize your resources down there, your property down there. You can utilize your expertise in the United States. You can do all these things, right, to help move them, to help get things moving. And
Yeah.
again, it doesn't take everybody. Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing the important role of technology. So we have to embrace technology. We have to embrace the radio. We have to embrace social media. We have to, reconceptualize the notion of social media and realize that it is such a powerful component of everything that we're doing in order to reach a worldwide audience. Judith Cochran, great to see you. She says, great program as usual. So thank you for being here, Judith. And we're going to be sharing a lot of information, a lot of the upcoming programs, events that Lester mentioned. I will be sure to keep posting them on Facebook, Q95 FM Radio, if you want to be able to see what are the next steps that are going to happen. And the great news is that event on Saturday, this Saturday, July 13th, is going to be streamed live on Push Past 10 and Q95 FM Radio. So you do not want to miss it. If you have not already done so, follow Push Past 10 and Q95 FM Radio, because we're going to have the events that Lester talked about for Saturday. We're going to be streaming it live on Facebook. Lambi, did you want to try again with the calls? Are we going to try again, or we've given up on that for tonight? Unmute the
And
StreamYard.
yeah,
The StreamYard is still muted.
while he figures that out, Dr. Simone, let me talk about what we're doing Saturday. So this coming Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Dominica time, what we're doing is we're fine-tuning the details of the Antigua goat import. Now, I will tell you that in that group, there are probably 30-something people already. But maybe what, Dylan, about 7 or 8 people really want to import this time, which is fine because we don't expect everybody to import every time, right? So if you would like to see how we do this, how we facilitate, a lot of people, for one of the feedback I've gotten is I like to do things on my own. I say, great, you could do things on your own. And by the way, there's no good, bad, right, or wrong with that. There's no shame, blame, or guilt behind that. But I'll tell you, there's power in numbers, especially when it's organized. So what I work to do, Dylan mentioned it earlier, it brings down your cost of shipment. You can get more animals and a lot of things. So what we're working to do is to show a template of what working together looks like successfully, right? And I've taken on the responsibility along with many of the other friends. I'm not taking credit by myself. It's a group effort. And we work together on these Zooms. And this is the last one we'll have before this shipment. And you will see the level of detail that we get into. How much was the expense for the pot fee in Antigua? How much was the cost to move the goats in the box from the tractor, from the farm to the boat? How much was the boat ride to Dominica? All the details that we need so that everybody knows exactly what they have to do to prepare financially. And they feel like, you know what, I'm being supported in this effort. So when you come on our Zoom on Saturday, what you expect to see is a collaborative group of people that work together, that whether we agree, doesn't matter. We don't have to agree on everything, and that's part of life. If you ask me if I agree on everything in my marriage, the answer would be no, right? And I've been married only 11 years, so I'm still a rookie, okay? But I'm just saying, we don't expect everybody, whether you're married or not, to agree on everything. So in our groups, we say, great, bring your ideas to the table, and we say, hey, this would work. If somebody brings an idea that's better than mine, let's say Dylan has done that before with me. He said, Lester, you know what do you think about this way? I say, sure, Dylan, I think that would be better, Let me put my idea to the back. Let's put yours in the front, right? So that's what we're looking to do, as long as it gets better and as long as it gets done. And here's what I'll say, Dr. Matthew, real quick, before I turn it back over to you. I am about results. That is what I'm about. Because I've seen a lot of talk on the sidelines, not pointing fingers anywhere. And I said, what do I have to do to be a part of a collaborative effort without any ego? I have no ego in this matter. I don't want my name published anywhere. Doc, you asked me to come on. I did it because I want the farmers to succeed, right? I live up here. My life is great. And guess what? I can help somebody else. They say there's always somebody in front of you, always somebody behind you. So I'm always being helped by somebody. I have my mentors in my life, but I also want to pass on the skills that I've learned over the years being here to somebody else. Not from a charity perspective, but from a skill set and leadership perspective, right? So that is what we get from being on these calls together, is we're grooming the new generation of leaders. So that one day Dylan says to me, Lester, boy, I've already run Dome. Like, let me take over this thing. Dylan, I'll step aside, bro. Take over, right? And I want people that are better than us to be in that circle. So I'll turn it back over to you because I can get very passionate.
Yeah, very well said. And we always have to keep in mind that everyone is not on social media. So for those of you who are listening and you will not be able to look on social media, you can always be a part of the WhatsApp opportunity on Saturday. So don't forget the email address, Dominica Livestock Cooperative at gmail.com. And I am sure they will be more than happy to send you the flyer, which includes the WhatsApp the Zoom information that you can be a part of this exciting event. So again, if you're not on Facebook, you're thinking, well, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not going to be able to see this. There are other ways. So Dominica Livestock Cooperative at gmail.com, and they will be more than happy to send you the flyer, including the Zoom link, so you can see what we're talking about on Saturday. So our time is quickly coming to a close. This has been a fantastic program. This is an incredible opportunity for livestock. And we also explored the different levels, the different opportunities that can come out of this one initiative. So I see great potential for this particular program. And I truly wish you guys the best of success. And I want you to keep in touch with us so we can bring you back on this program. Again, we reach a worldwide audience, people as far as Germany and China and Alaska, Africa, everywhere is covered. So we want to keep you in the forefront in terms of what you're doing. So as we get ready to wind down, any final thoughts you would like to share, any parting words that you would like to share? And I want to again thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules for being here to educate us on what you're doing. And why, the bigger question, why is this so very important? And again, if you missed any portion of this program, the recording of this program will be on Facebook at Q95 FM Radio and Push Past 10, and on YouTube at Q95 FM Radio. So you can go back all the way to the beginning. And of course, don't forget to share, so that we're trying to recruit more farmers. We're trying to bring more experts into the fold. So very important that we share this program. So guys, thank you. Your parting thoughts as we get ready to wind down the program. So Dylan, let's start with you, and then we will close with Lester. So Dylan, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much once again, of course, for the opportunity to be able to share my thoughts. Successes and challenges being involved in the agriculture sector, of course, organic agriculture sector for the past couple of years. Closing thoughts, take advantage of what it is we're doing. Take full advantage. You're a farmer in Dominica, you have goods, you want to upgrade your stock. Look, we're having a import next week, Tuesday. You have some money laying aside, you want to upgrade your genetics, get in touch. You can get some in Dominica as close as next week. Okay, you miss it in September, let's go again. You understand? So get involved, and reap the benefit of what it is we're doing, and of course stay involved. Bring your expertise that you have in whatever field that you have to help support the association and make things easier, for yourself and for everybody involved. That's always important. Human resources is always a challenge, so yeah, anybody with those kind of resources, would be more than happy for the support. If you also want to get involved in the organic industry, you can also follow Dome on Facebook, Dominica Organic Agriculture Movement. You can also contact us via email, DOAMINC, Dome Inc. at gmail.com.
Say it again. Say it again. Say the email.
That's DOAM, Dome, INC, that's for Inc., at gmail.com. If you want to support the organization in any way, to kind of help us move forward, because, as long as we support organic agriculture in Dominica, we're supporting, the climate resilient, nature island image that we have. And, I don't see no other way to start than with the soil. We come from the soil and we're going back to the soil. So if we can, maintain the health of Mama Earth, where we come from, that's the best we can do. I think we should do that and get to learn, the soil a little better. So much to learn. People think agriculture is just something small. It's a science. Many aspects to it. I myself still learning, and I need it for how long? We processing, we dehydrating fruit. We do essential oil production. Actually, we just started production of essential oil last week again, of bee oil. And we're doing pharmaceutical grade, so it can also be used internally, and we're expanding into different herbs, we're involved in different aspects of agriculture, so there's many different ways you can get involved in the sector and make good money,
Yeah.
so
And so the Calypsonian soul who said it best, my favorite line in the Calypso: jump high, jump low, we must return to the soil, because that is what we've been blessed with. We've been blessed with the sun, the soil, the water, for livestock, for agriculture. So Dylan, do me a favor, in the private chat, post your contact number, because I would love to support the work that you're doing in organic farming. So in the private chat, post your phone number. You were going to say something else?
Well, my closing statement, what I was saying before I close was, remember, for Maria, I believe for Maria, everybody kind of, get a better idea of how important the role of the farmer does play. Because when boats not coming, and tractors don't land yet, and everything destroyed, it's the farmers that have food in the ground. We have resilient crops. We have a lot of dashing, tanya, yam, all of these things that we had access to afterwards. Now we didn't have any issue. We didn't have to go to Roseau and cross all the rubble and get, ration and so on. So I believe everybody in Dominica have a piece of plot of land that they grow in their food. They can be independent. They can be self-sustainable. 1 week bad for you at work, you can go in Zion and you can survive. You can have fresh drinking water, good food for you. You're healthy, and health is the most important thing. You know, when you have
Yeah,
health, you're wealth,
and
and
you
stress
can
can.
disconnect. You can disconnect and rejuvenate by going to
Yeah,
Zion.
that's right. Everybody should own a piece of Dominica. We have a lot of foreigners coming in and buying up. So we need to take advantage now because when that airport comes, the value of property going to skyrocket. So now is the best time to invest in a piece of land in Dominica. Always watching, invest in a piece of land in Dominica right now. Run for it.
Absolutely.
Run for it.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much, Dylan,
Thanks
and
again.
don't forget to post your contact number in the private chat so I can reach
Okay.
out to you. So thank you so much for that. So just mute your mic. And Mr. Barron, thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been wonderful. I'm so happy that Omar Monell connected us so we could feature you on this program. So your closing remarks as we wind down this evening.
Doc, I am so encouraged because I keep getting private messages on my phone. People are saying, I would like to contribute the next time you have an initiative. Thank you in advance for supporting our farmers. And I wanted to close with a little bit of details, okay? Because some people say, well, Lester, is this a pie in the sky idea? Or can what we're doing here really work? So the source of this is the World Bank, okay? And here's what it says. It says, nearly all countries in the world started off poor, and only a handful have achieved high income status. However, the ones that achieved it started with agriculture and went through an economic transformation that accelerated growth, reduced hunger, and undernutrition. Growth in the agricultural sector, listen up to this, is 2 to 4 times more effective in raising incomes amongst the less privileged compared to other sectors. Agriculture is also crucial to economic growth, accounting for 4% of global gross domestic product. And in some least developing countries, listen up, it can account for more than 25% of GDP. They say the first step to total greatness is commitment. And if you commit to this process, we can become great in Dominica in the agricultural sector. I'm excited to be with you. I'm grateful to be here. And I'm so thankful, Doc, that you had me on tonight. I'm honored. I bid you continued success, and God bless you, and God bless our beautiful country, Dominica. Over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for posting the WhatsApp information as well. But again, if you're not, you're just listening, you're not on social media, you're not on Facebook, you're not on YouTube, you can always, yes, thank you for putting that up. Lester, if you can scan the QR code, you can get the information as well. But again, if you're just listening on the radio, send an email and they will be able to give you any information that you would like in terms of being a part of this very important initiative. So we want to thank everyone who joined us via Facebook Live, all the great comments. Let's see that we're not missing anyone as we wind down. So again, that email address, Dominica Livestock Cooperative at gmail.com. And let's just thank everyone who joined us. Cody says, great discussion. Good luck with the initiative. Cody, I'm going to reach out to you so we can set up your program as well. Janelle Felix is here. Archer, nice to see you. Marshall Lawrence, always wonderful to see you. He says, congratulations, guys. You are doing great work. Don't stop. Thanks, Dr. Simone. And Veronica Pascal, another firm supporter of the programs. Hi, Dr. Simone. Great program. Nice to see you as always, Veronica. So, guys, thank you for being here. As always, we look forward to being in this program with you as we continue to showcase the people, the projects, the initiatives geared at moving Dominica forward, especially as it relates to financial opportunities. So if you too are working on an initiative, you're working on something that will benefit Dominica, feel free to email me at pushpast10@gmail.com. Again, pushpast10 at gmail.com to let us know what you are doing, because I like what Lester said. It is all about the action. It is all about what we are doing. The talk is important. I will always say talking about issues are important, but we have to get down to actually doing so that we can move our country forward. So again, don't forget to follow Q95 FM radio and Push Past 10 on Facebook and click the notification button so you will know when we go live, and Q95 FM radio on YouTube as well. and for all the best in daily programming, q95da.com. So again, I want to thank you, Lambi. Thank you for your efforts in trying to connect us. I know that we were not successful, but again, thank you for that. Thank you, everyone on Facebook, the listening audience, and everyone who will reach out to this Dominica Lifestyle Cooperative. So again, we were just holding a program, and our topic this evening was an opportunity for breeding livestock in Dominica via imported genetics. And we were joined by Mr. Lester Barron, Miss Magdalene Coffey, and Mr. Dylan Williams. So with that, guys, you have a wonderful evening. Until we meet again, we will be back. I think it's July 24th, if I'm not mistaken. So don't forget to tune in. And again, thank you for being here. And with that, we bid you good evening, good night, and enjoy the rest of your week. Take care. Thank you again, guys. You can say bye.
Thank you, Doc. Good night, everybody. Bye
All
bye.
right.
See
Have a
y'all
good
soon.
night.
Okay, bye
All right.
bye.
Take care.
Good
Thank
night.
you, everyone. Thanks again for the opportunity.
All right. You're welcome. Take care. Bye bye. All right.